Hello, lovelies. This is Lynn. It's great to be with you today. I am doing a quick reading on um, the very likely insider trading that occurred this last week. Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, was highlighted as a member of Congress. There we go. I can say that word properly, as having been an insider trader. And from the looks of things, there's a lot more who were also doing that, um, which there's a link in the more section for an article from AP News, and there is a link in the more section from a Twitter thread, a shitter thread, excuse me, X plus itter equals shitter, because you know. Anyway, so, and it talks about the different stocks and how they behaved, and then um, the massive trade, the 2,100% increase in trading right before the announcements came regarding the tariffs. So that should be interesting to follow, but let's take a look and see what we've got with the insider trading. And the answer to that is, did it happen? Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, indeed, it did happen. I am using first, these cards here are from the Trish James investigation deck. And then I've got the other set here that I'm going to read in just a moment. And those are from the Trish James predictions deck. So let's take a look with these guys first. At the heart of the matter is the Emperor. And I bet you can figure out who this is. But if you can't, this is the felon. This is the guy who's behind it all. He's the one in charge. He's the one calling the shots. And as much as many of us think that he has dementia, he's still calling the shots. My mom passed away from dementia. And I will say this, he is not nearly as far along as a lot of people believe he is. Um, I'm going to guess he's 40, 45. Huh. Isn't that interesting? 50% um, disabled from dementia. When a person reaches the end stage of dementia, because there are stages, I think there are 4 or 5 stages. When they reach the end stage of dementia, they stop talking, they stop eating, um, that kind of stuff. So anyway, so the felon in the White House is behind it all. There were a lot of people involved. This card says more than one involved. Will be interesting to see how many were. There is a great deal of evidence to prove who did, and they are running out of time because this is all going to come crashing to an end, and we will all feel like we've had freedom. All right, let me pause for just a second and set up the other ones that I have here for this reading. Okay, so for these next set of cards, we start with the planned outcome. They knew what they were doing going into this whole tariff thing. Clearly, it is a banking and currency form of fraud. And what they didn't expect was to be caught. In the future, I fully suspect we are going to discover that the tariffs and the fraud committed in the insider trading is related to both the farming industry and weapon industry. and possibly an energy weapon. So that could be nuclear power. This could be oil reserves as well, because I know the oil industry holds a great deal of power over our government, because they're really, really rich. Okay. Uh, Let me pause again for a moment. Okay, for this part of the reading, I am using the Thelemic Wisdom Tarot deck. There we go, baby. Sort of. There we go. Thelemic Wisdom Tarot. And these are super big cards. As you can see, they're almost the size of my hand. In the center here, we have the Ten of Cups in reverse. And boy, there's a lot of infighting among those who are participants, shall we say, crossed by the Ten of Wands. They're all feeling very stressed right now because they have been caught. At the foundation of the reading is the King of Pentacles in reverse, and they have all gone into this for material gain. Passing away is the Queen of Cups reverse. For some crazy reason, all of these extremely wealthy people did this to get more wealth. They broke the law simply to be more wealthy because greed is everything, apparently. Like if you've got $10 million, I'm thinking that should last you pretty well, but I could be wrong. Anyway, so their whole goal in this entire situation was greed, sadly. Overarching energy is the Emperor, which once again we have the Emperor card as part of the reading, and this is 45. This is the felon. He is really driving a lot of the illegal activities, allegedly, and for entertainment purposes only. Mm. And then the energy coming to bear is the High Priestess. And this card represents people who have knowledge and they share some and they keep some of it hidden. And so, if any of the people who are accused of insider trading have to give an affidavit or testify or testimony, they're not going to tell everything they know. They're going to tell what they want others to know, and they're going to omit important details. Okay, let me scoot this over and come to the legs of the reading. If you're new here, I do a modified Celtic cross. And so the heart of the cross, if you will, is the same as every other Celtic cross, but I use three legs, and instead of reading from the bottom to top, I read top to bottom. The meanings of the cards are the same, or the placement are the same as what it is with reading bottom to top. The difference that I really do here is the three legs. This is 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months. So let's get into this. All right. At the top of this is adjustment in the Smith Rider weight deck. This is strength. And they want to appear strong. They want to appear like they are innocent of what they're being accused of. They want to come at this. So here's the thing. They want to be treated with fairness, yet they didn't treat others with fairness. Insider trading is illegal for a reason. They had insider knowledge that either the stock market was going to tank or these were the stocks that they should buy. If the stock market, if they had insider information that the stock was going to tank, they had the opportunity to sell stocks before they would feel the loss of that financial impact. Buying new stocks means that they get first come, first serve, and they can buy more stocks before the prices go up. So, you know, ultimately, people don't understand why white collar crime is really dangerous. And the reason it's so dangerous is because it really does hurt those of us who follow the law, who buy stocks appropriately, who um, don't use our knowledge of industries to line our pockets, who don't, 45 has a great example is that he um, has thousands and thousands of LLCs under the overall Trump nomenclature. And each of those LLCs can do business based on that LLC, and then they can go bankrupt, which this was very prominent in the hotel and casinos that he built, where he would hire a company that would contract for him, do contract work for him. For example, draperies for hotel rooms. Um, and then he'd go bankrupt with that LLC, or he would just not pay. He would just not pay the vendor. And once he didn't pay the vendor would go after the LLC that they contracted with, only to discover that it was really hard to figure out how to reach the primary company. So, and that's really white collar crime because those different vendors, a lot of them went out of business. He ruined them financially. So that is then has exponential impact to that community because employees are out of business, the business is gone. So that's tax dollars that are gone, that is spending dollars that are gone. It's all about economic impact. And that always flows downward. The super rich, when they hold on to their money super tight and then commit white collar crimes, I can say those words, really, I can. Um, they they harm us. They harm the regular guys, you know. We're the ones who end up paying for it eventually. Takes a while. You may not recognize that you're feeling it, but we do feel it. All right, next up is the Empress, and this is Mother Russia in reverse. I don't do it nearly as good as Rosie from Rosie Insights does. Anyway, so the Empress in reverse and just the ultimate in greed. The ultimate greed has driven this whole thing, which ties back to what I said earlier in the center cross of the energy passing away. And they're going to try and cover it up. They're going to do their very best to slow everything down and get it, if it goes in front of a grand jury, they're going to try and, pause those grand juries and that kind of thing. So that's to be expected. Hopes and fears are the Six of Wands, and they they're feeling very victorious in what they've what they feel like they've accomplished. They made a lot of money, but and they're feeling really big wins. But the outcome in the 0 to 3 month is the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Let me see if I can pull that up a little bit more. And I've said this before about this card. In the upright position, this is a card that is collaboration among like-minded people. But when I look at this card, I see Maiden Mother Crone, only these are male figures on this particular card. And in the reverse position, though, those relationships are falling apart. They're no longer collaborating. They're no longer um, working towards a common outcome, a, an outcome that they all decided on. Now their egos are in the way. Their own personal greed is standing in the way of standing together, which, in my opinion, that's probably going to be their biggest downfall. All right. In the 3 to 6 month, at the top of the reading, we have the Magician. And yep, they manipulated things, not for the greater good. They manipulated, they lied, they've tried to hide their tracks, and, digital footprint, everything you do on a computer is followable. I may have made up that word. Maybe not. All right. In the reverse is the Nine of Cups. And this card is, the overarching energy of this reading is all of their greed. It's taking others for granted. It is such ugly energy. Like, when is enough enough? My husband and I, we dream of winning the lottery, but if we ever do, we would use all that money for the greater good. Would we pay our bills? Would we take care of ourselves and build a house that we can finish our lives in? Yes, we would. But then the remaining money would be used to help others because that's just who we are. Even now, I donate to things that matter to me. Um, HIV, we have um, I don't want to say it's an assisted living. It's more of a hospice. There we go. Um, we have a hospice house for end of life care for people who have HIV. I give to homeless and food banks, homeless shelters and food banks. And because those are the things that matter to me. Those are for my husband, he would give to cancer. We have friends who have a child with cerebral palsy. I have friends who have a child with Down syndrome. So those are things also that I give to. And to think that I could ever spend the money that we might win in a big lottery winning, that's not going to happen. I mean, I have an addiction to some tarot and oracle cards, and I will be the first to tell you it's a little out of hand. But I can't spend all that money. Clothing, purses, maybe a few shoes. My husband is very quietly in the living room ignoring me. He's a wise man. Oh, sorry. Didn't read this card. I was off on a rant. Tangent, I mean, a tangent, not a rant, a tangent. Anyway, come along with me. Get all the thoughts that cross my mind and flow from my mouth without, filtering. Four of Wands in reverse is their hopes and fears of the future. And this is a fear of having to tell the truth. Oh, wow. They don't want to have to tell on themselves. Ooh, yep. Because I'm gonna guess that they've got a lot to tell. All right. And then finally, in the 3 to 6 month row, the outcome is the Fool in reverse. And in this one, this is, oh, bad choices. Super reckless. Didn't really give it a great deal of thought. Bad choices. All right. Let's move that over. And this is our 6 to 12 month row. The Ace of Wands is at the top of the row. And this is, oh, let's have this creative spark is what this is. And think about this. Let's approach this from a new way. Let's see if we can't get away with this, and be creative about how we do so. It's not going to work. It is not going to work. Next, we have the Seven of Wands in reverse. And oh, look. They're retreating and they're feeling overwhelmed by it. These efforts here, wah, 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 um, they're going to look so incompetent. So incompetent. Their hopes and fears is the Ten of Pentacles, and they were hoping to build a legacy for their next generations, or themselves because they're incredibly greedy. But if all the money they made is no longer available to them, if it's confiscated, and they're in potentially, that is a potential. Jail time is definitely a potential here. Um, there's no legacy for family when that happens. The legacy is embarrassment. And then finally, we have the Princess of Swords, um, which is a different card from the Smith Rider Waite deck. And for this one, somebody is going to rat them all out. Somebody's going to talk. Somebody's going to get honest. And whoever that person is, first one up is the one who has the most leniency. So if somebody who's accused of doing insider trading on this during this last week doesn't go to jail for this, and the others do, the person who doesn't go to jail, couple things that could make this happen. One is they were the first one to speak to the grand jury. Two is that um, they didn't make a lot of money, which I find it really hard to believe that any of the people who knew about this in advance won't come away making millions and millions of dollars each on that move. Okay, that's my reading. I'm going to say that what happens next, there's an investigation, there are charges, and I believe there will be jail time for this group of people simply because of the white collar crime that I talked about earlier. Will their jail be in Rikers Island? No, because, apparently rich people don't go to Rikers Island. I'm going to stop there. All right. Thanks for coming along. Have a great one. Take care. Bye now. Not quite done. Not quite done. All right. So, if that caused you any stress, let's take it back to a place of calm. Take a deep breath in and let it out and feel that stress fall away and replace it with joy and something that makes you smile. and carry that energy with you the rest of the day. Please know that you are made of stardust and magic. You're far more powerful than you realize, and you are profoundly loved. Okay, on that note, dun da da da, bye bye now. See you in the next one.